Okay, we back at you with episode number 2 of Harlem Muse. So much going on, so much going on. Elections coming up and public cancellation of athletes and recording artists, billionaires. But we're not gonna get into that. We're gonna write our own gospel and we're gonna live our own myth. That's right. We're gonna roll with people who are carving their way through this world with stone positivity. We have a beautiful family that decided to leave a few words of love and encouragement. We have a senior citizen with a sweet second act, a tenacious community activist that you gotta love, and a great spoken word artist with a few words to say. And we gonna listen. Here we go.
Hey, my name is Beach. I'm with my family, my daughter, my wife, and my next daughter.
Okay.
And we're from
What's her name? What's her name?
Elena.
Elena. Ellie. Okay. The basketball player.
Basketball player.
All right.
Future basketball star. And from Harlem. And just want to share love to everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody needs someone to inspire them. Everyone needs someone to help them to anything. So just showing love, spreading love, Harlem to the world.
Okay, I just want to say I definitely feel that the vibration coming off these people is unbelievable. I got to say it, and it's just beautiful to see. You know,
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for the trust and for just taking the time to do this. Right.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
go play some basketball.
Hi. Good morning. My name is G. Chapman. I am a proud owner of Chapman J Cakes. I bake cakes and pies. I do pop-ups. I also appear at the Columbia University. I'm also there. I do Corbin Hills for Thanksgiving. I'm taking orders. My number is 917-650-4921, and my website is Chapman J Cakes. I invite everyone to go to chapmanjcakes.com and order for the holidays.
Okay, how long have you been baking?
I've been baking ever since 2013,
Okay.
and I enjoy it.
That's professionally or just?
Oh, I was just doing it for, I'm a retiree, so I was just doing it to do it. And then one day my cousin, he took some of my cakes to the Senior Citizen Center, and they loved it. And from that point of 2013, I've been baking. And I've been getting very good reviews. I'm also at the porch here on 147th Street in St. Nick. I was at Harlem Shake for over 7 years. And I'm getting ready to open up my own place on 145th Street and between St. Nicholas and Convent. Betsy Place. That's coming soon. Okay. So look out for that.
All right. So how long you lived in Harlem?
Oh, I've been a resident of Harlem all my life, basically. Yeah, all my life. Born and raised in Harlem. Born in Harlem Hospital. And I go to take care of my health at Harlem Hospital, so I'm a long lifer of Harlem Hospital.
Sure and true.
Not so much Harlem Hospital,
Harlem.
USA.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you, and please call 917-650-4921.
Okay.
And the website is chapmanjcakes.com.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, peace and blessings. I'm Aisha Sekou, CEO and founder of Street Corner Resources, and you are watching Harlem Muse.
Street Corner Resources with the fantastic, the effervescent, the tons of energy, Miss Aisha Sekou. She is organic to this area. Her energy and her reputation speaks for itself. I was truly amazed when I came in here for the first time. It was a beehive of activity. And in the center was Aisha. orchestrating everything. Aisha, hi.
Peace and blessings.
Okay, how you doing?
Pretty good. I can't complain. The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day in November.
Right, beautiful. So I just like to know how the beginnings of this Street Corner Resources, how did it come to you, and how did it happen?
So Street Corner Resources was really founded before we had a name.
Okay.
So I knew that I wanted to start a not-for-profit, and I guess all my life, let me just go back. Excuse me. All my life, my family delivered service to the community. I come from a service-oriented family. My mother ran a not-for-profit in the Bronx, and we always had little jobs that we had to do to help keep it going. We were always around the office. My mother had five children, and she always found work for us to do. So at a very young age, I was an activist and a server to the community. I lived in a brownstone on 136th Street for a long time. I was very active with the Block Association and all the young people in the neighborhood. At that time, I was running a welfare to work program for the contracted through the city, and it was for women who were on public assistance, and they were being mandated to work by then President Clinton. And so during that time, there were a number of things I didn't agree with, and that's what made me think more about starting my own not-for-profit to kind of help, just help people. And I found also that the women that were coming to us were losing their sons on the street to gun violence.
Wow.
And were becoming more and more involved in gun and gang violence. And so I just felt like every time we had to help bury a young person, for these mothers, I felt like I needed to do something. I couldn't be a bystander in it. And so, I started talking to the women about what was going on with their sons, how were they getting gang involved, how did they get the gun, that kind of thing, trying to help them get free from incarceration and to get attorneys and that kind of thing. So then I just said, you know what? I need to really, there was a kid, 13-year-old, his name was Scotty Scott, and he was murdered not far from here because he was playing in a dice game. He was 13 years old. That was the straw that broke the camel's back that told me I really needed to get more entrenched in the work. And again, I was a director of a welfare to work program at that time, and I was director over the educational component. But I just felt like my work wasn't enough, so when our contract ended, it was just like perfect for me to start working about how to best shape the organization. And so anyway, long story short, I got more and more involved in the community and looking at what I could do and how I can pull people together. And we created something actually with Pastor Williams called the he had something called Perfect Peace Ministries, and I called it A Presence for Peace on the Street, and we took to the streets. But the organization got its 501c3 in 2005, and we didn't get any funding until somewhere around 2015. Wow. And I think a lot of that had to do with, one, my lack of knowledge how to access the bigger funding. I kept getting, what do they call it? It was the smaller amount of funding.
Right.
And it wasn't enough to run an organization. I happened to be looking for funding, going to meetings, community board meetings, and so forth. And one day I got a phone call from the mayor's office, and they said, Aisha, are you going to approve the funding or not? I said, approve what funding? They said, it's probably been in your email for over 2 weeks. I was kind of fed up, so I hadn't checked the email. I was sick of, I don't like email anyway, but I just felt like I was just trying, and nothing happened. And of course, lo and behold, there was an email that said we had $250,000 in funding. Not a lot of fun. That's not a lot for this work, but it's a lot when you don't have anything.
Right.
And so, growing up, I learned to do a lot with little. And so I was able, and I think even now, I still probably make it look too easy with not enough, it looks too great with very little money. But anyway, so that was the beginning of our funding. And one of the things I had always talked about in all of the meetings, and to the point that people would be tired of hearing about it, was our mobile unit, which is right behind us. I would always talk about having resources mobilely accessible. And people were just looking at me like, okay, what does she mean by that? That means taking education, employment, training, free activity opportunities, all kind of community events, taking all of those resources that could help our community to one place, different places on different corners, and support and help people, and particularly young people, because the door is often closed to them because people don't understand the language that they speak. They don't understand their culture. The old school folks really didn't like pants that were sagging and that kind of thing. And for a lot of reasons, our young people didn't get the help that they need. And I figured if we take the resources to the corner, we can reach them, we can talk with them, we become their go-to people, we can help resolve conflicts and issues. And of course deal with the issue of gun violence, because what we found, even though we didn't have the mobile unit, we found that we still needed to deal with that issue, so we did.
Okay, now, what do you see for the future of Street Corner Resources?
Well, one, I just like to say in our present is that I love that we have 62 young people employed. I have 32 people on payroll, either consultants or full-time employment. I have some men and women formerly incarcerated working with us. I have young people who didn't have a vision for themselves. Now I'm beginning to have a vision as a result of being with Street Corner Resources, not just with me, with my staff, my team, the community. People all jump in and kind of help and motivate our young people. So I'm really proud about that. I'm really proud about where we are right now. For the future, I see a building or two in the works, particularly a building that could provide an array of services, and of course mental health services as well, because we know that that's much needed by family and young people. But also to have activities going on. I kind of have this idea to have a bowling alley, and it doesn't have to be a big bowling alley. I think if we had 4 to 6 lanes, that would be sufficient. And I see that in a basement and just young people hanging out and having a good time. I also see a small skating rink, roller skating. And I see, an array of games and video and things like that, all kinds of positive activities, making music going on in one place.
Well,
and so that's what I see for the future. We need to have ways to grab our young people.
Because you see it, I claim it already. I think it's going to happen because there's no stopping Aisha. I can tell you that.
That's right.
If she says it, it's coming for sure.
I try.
So yeah.
You had asked me about relationships.
Right. Well, let's get into the questions. I have 5 questions that I would like to ask Aisha, and one is, what role has relationships played in the development of your community organization and your personality?
I think my personality is just what it is, some people say I'm a little rough around the edges. I laugh. I say, that's all. I can get my weight up. It's supposed to be more than rough around the edges. But I think for the most part, people who say that, they only see me in activist mode.
Right.
And they don't see me when I laugh and joke, because some people say, you're always so serious. And like I never laugh, and I do. I'm probably a big jokester most of the time. I find humor in a lot of things. So my personality is just what it is when it calls for, which often it does. So I play that part more than anything, because if there is a brutal beating, stabbing, or shooting, or act of brutality at the hands of the police in particular, or some injustice, I'm going to say something, and I'm going to do something. So my mother is one of my great influences, my biggest motivator, and if I had to say who's the cheerleader, it's my mother.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And does spirituality play a part in your life?
Oh, Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm just talking about the spirit, the energy, the way of being, but also my religion. I'm Muslim. And so I go to the mosque, but I also visit people's churches. On any given day, any given Sunday, I could be at different churches in the Harlem community. You know, it's all about community. It's not so much for me about religion.
Okay.
And it is about the spirituality in the community, that we have belief in something, that we have a set of values that help keep us grounded as a people and as a community.
And I have to say, generally, all my interactions with you has just been amazing. You think I'm like watching you, but I'm just amazed at you and like how you are just connected to the staff, to the community, to everything. And everybody loves you.
For the most part.
Everybody loves you. I haven't seen not one naysayer at all.
No, well, I tell you, I have more people who love me than people who sometimes people call haters.
Yeah.
I have more people, and even what I like is the challenge of those that don't understand the work, don't know how this works. Like people were envious about the space and the bus and the van, but they didn't know I lost the whole house in the process.
They see the duck on the water. They don't see the feet paddling.
Exactly. They didn't understand, and they still don't understand the long nights and why I have bags sometimes under my eyes like now.
But
You know.
when passion meets like community and meets like just
remember overhearing conversations in the kitchen. And if y'all know anything, y'all know ain't nothing more magical than 4 black women in one kitchen. See, I watched them there, conjuring feasts fit for kings, with recipes passed on from elders I have never seen, but always knew they love me still to this day just by the way my food tasted. I watched them there, gracefully stirring pots, measuring by hand just the right amount that's good for your soul. See, they were good for your soul like church, because the kitchen, it was praise and worship. The kitchen, it was knees on a pew and invitations to forgiveness. And these women were extensions of God. These women were fried chicken, collards, and turkey neck bones. Facts. Baked mac and cheese, gizzards, and gluten-filled bread, because gluten-free just don't taste the same. These women were seasoning, picked from the earth and packaged in tough love, raw, salty, and sweet. These women have survived fires and lived to tell of smoke, of rubble.
Okay, thanks for sticking and staying. Like, share, and spread the word. And remember, this life is not a courtroom. It's a classroom. See you next time.